of night.
Oh, Valerie, darling, much as I enjoy having you with me, I really think it would be best if we postponed our reunion for a little while.
Daddy, I don't see what the big deal is. If there isn't room for me at your place, I'll simply find an apartment. I need to be home now, at least for a while.
Well, working here is out of the question.
I'm sure I could be useful in some way.
There is nothing here for you to do. Kenneth, will you please try to talk some sense into your daughter?
Yes? Oh, Mr. Kincaid, what can I do for you?
I've got to see you, Doctor, at once.
Well, what seems to be the problem? Oh, I'm sorry. It's my daughter, Valerie.
I'd like to talk privately, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course. Well, if you'd excuse us, darling, we'll continue this discussion over dinner.
I've made up my mind. See you later.
Enough is enough, Bryson.
What is it now?
It is well past high time that we made a decision about Mrs. Karr.
We told you not to worry about that, Mr. Gideon.
I am worrying plenty. Now even your damn orderlies are beginning to raise questions that make me very uncomfortable.
What are you talking about?
That Richie Johnson. You told him that Mrs. Karr called here and spoke with Featherstone. He's curious as to what that is all about.
Well, I will see to it that Richie doesn't ask any more questions.
Nonetheless, I don't want that woman connected with this place in any way. It's dangerous.
Oh, well, you can relax, Mr. Gideon. We've come to a definite decision about Mrs. Karr.
Well, what's your plan? And it had better be good.
Well, the moment you're well enough to be discharged, the Rexford Clinic will cease operations. We're closing down the entire facility.
Won't that draw suspicion?
No, establishments like this come and go all the time. No one will think it out of the ordinary.
And what will you do?
Your fee will be used for relocating expenses. We'll be leaving when you do.
You still haven't told me what will happen with that woman.
Mrs. Karr will be coming with us. That way we can keep an eye on her.
That's a needless risk.
Oh, no, not at all.
She'll be recognized by the time you reach the ramp to board your flight.
No, she won't be recognized.
That woman is well known. A pair of dark sunglasses and a scarf over her hair might not be sufficient.
That's true. But you see, my husband is going to perform cosmetic surgery on her to alter her features. Aren't you, Kenneth?
Yes. I will be doing that. First thing tomorrow morning.
I don't wanna ricochet love, I just want a man in my...
Sid, I apologize. I didn't mean to be late. I got hung up.
Hey, not so fast there. First thing you're gonna do is tell me how that child of yours is doing.
What child?
Well, you did say you were driving into Monticello this afternoon to see your little girl.
Oh yes, Job, she's fine. She's just fine. As cute as can be.
Hey, hold on a minute. Something's bugging you.
No, I'm all right.
You want to talk about it? I got big shoulders. Too big, in fact. Charlie Pines hit me for a 50 this morning with the saddest story you ever want to hear. And boy, am I a sucker for sad stories, even when I know they're not true. And the boys at the mortgage bank are not interested in sad stories. Comes the first of each month.
Everything has just gotten so complicated. I don't know whether I'm coming or going.
Oh, hey, honey, look. Any minute now, your man's gonna walk through that door, and if it will make things any less complicated, you can take the rest of the day off.
No,
okay?
no, I'm not gonna let you do that. You've already had to double up on all my lunch customers.
Hey, I said that your man is gonna come through that door. Nobody said a word about any customers. Do you feel all right?
Fine, I'm just a little dizzy. Doctor told me I shouldn't get up.
Well, if the doctor told you you shouldn't, then probably you should.
I'm not making any sense, am I?
No, I'm afraid not.
I did go into Monticello today to see my daughter. I also went in to see the doctor.
What doctor?
My obstetrician. That's who you go to see when you're going to have another baby. I knew I was pregnant even before I came to East Meadows. I didn't tell Draper, though, because of the situation between us. I didn't want my baby to be an excuse to force him to do something about Emily. It was something he had to do on his own.
Well, honey, you're not going to be able to hide the truth much longer.
I know. Having a bit of trouble as it is. I'm going to tell him tonight, though, because we are going home tonight.
Well, you should have gone home a long time ago, even without your husband.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't leave Draper to risk his life up here by himself. I couldn't bear the thought of leaving him alone.
What, did you have to go all the way back to Monticello just to see a doctor? It may come as a surprise to you, but we do have doctors here in East Meadows.
I know. It's just that I've had some bad experiences, trouble in past pregnancies. I lost my first baby due to an accident, and they thought I would never have children, but then Julia was born, but she was 2 months premature, so I just have to be careful.
Well, then tonight's reunion is all the more cause for celebration.
And it is also all the more reason to force Draper to come home with me.
Are you sure you don't know where Mr. Scott is, or are you just afraid to tell me?
No, it's the truth, Mrs. Michaels. I haven't heard from him at all. The only person I've spoken to is Mrs. Scott.
Oh, really? What did she have to say? Did she mention her husband at all?
No, she didn't. She just inquired about her baby.
You wouldn't be lying to me, Mrs. Timmons, would you? After all, there are things I could tell Mrs. Scott about her baby, like the time you let someone walk off with Julia without any trouble at all.
Please, Mrs. Michaels, I've told you the truth. I haven't heard from him, and I have no idea where he is.
I think you know more than you're admitting, Mrs. Timmons. Now stop holding out on me. Where is Draper Scott?
I don't know. He certainly hasn't called here or been to visit. And if he is in Monticello, I'm sure that he would stop by to see his little girl. He just adores her.
You're right. He would stop by if he were in town. Which means he has to be still in this town. All right, Mrs. Timmons, thank you. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Well, I guess it's time for another trip to Sydney's Tavern.
I still think you're nuts to pass up this offer, Richie. $50, 50 for one night off.
No thanks, Shark.
Look, it's not like you're gonna have to be doing anything around here. Old Kincaid went to the movies in that charity case. She's always too shy to ask for anything.
Sharky, I've been stuck in this place for days. I've just got to get out of here.
The town's dead. I told you that. All the chicks must have been kidnapped by gangs of white slavers. There's nothing out there but a vast wasteland,
Look,
old
I
buddy.
don't care if it's the moon. I got to have a change of scenery. I'll probably just go to a movie by myself.
All right. I know how you feel. I get the itch, too, sometimes. New places, new faces. I'm gonna be doing some real traveling soon.
Oh, yeah? Where to?
Someplace better than this, I can tell you that much.
Come on. You got a new job?
Job? You are looking at a man who will never have to work again a day in his life.
Well, how come?
I just discovered a rich uncle. How about that? Hey, look, I gotta get going. You sure you're not gonna change your mind about the 50?
No. Tonight's my night out.
Have a good one. Miss Bryson?
Bye.
Hi. I'd like to apologize for the way I behaved in your father's office. I just didn't realize who you were.
Yes, I know. You figured I was a patient, so you could try anything you wanted?
I apologize.
Well, apologies accepted.
Will you be staying with your folks here?
No, actually, I'm not. I'm looking for a hotel. Do you know of one?
Well, there isn't a hotel in town, but there's a motel. It's the East Meadows. It's right out on Route 9. Just head south. You can't miss it.
Thank you.
Anytime. I sure hope I'll be seeing you soon, Valerie.
Oh, I'm glad to see you. I was so afraid you were going to call and cancel on on me again.
No, never do that. Feels like a year since I've seen you. You all right, huh? You all right?
Yeah.
Sid, have you been working her too hard?
We haven't had enough customers for her to work up a sweat.
Well, you've got 2 customers right now, paying customers. I'm starving. Any food?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am fixing you kids something special for your farewell dinner.
What are you talking about, farewell?
I'll go get things started. You two just sit and relax.
What is she...
Why did you react like that when Sid said farewell? It is our farewell. You promised I'm not letting you go back to that place.
I can't leave there, not yet.
No! I knew this was going to happen. I knew you were going to say that. No.
Relax, please. I've got a very good reason this time. Nancy.
What about Nancy?
Well, that's what I tried to tell you, honey. Remember that old doctor, Featherstone, the one who had the stroke? Well, before he died, he did something very strange. He showed me a picture of Nancy in a magazine. Now, he couldn't talk to tell me what he was trying to do, so I went right to Bryson and asked him.
Well, what did he say?
He suddenly remembers that Nancy did call the Rexford and talk to Featherstone.
She did call?
Yeah.
She's doing that for me, for us. She's trying to prove that Sharkey is the father of Emily's baby.
But why would he lie if he knew?
Congratulations, Draper. Isn't it marvelous?
Congratulations about what?
Well, I thought I just heard you... April, honey, I am just dying here, bursting at the seams, and you haven't even told him yet.
What are you talking about?
I'm pregnant. I'm going to have another baby.
If you just sign this card, Miss Bryson.
Okay.
Do you know how long you intend to stay?
Well, actually, no, I don't.
Well, then I'll just put you down for the daily rate.
Hi. Could I leave my key here, please?
Of course, Mrs. Michaels.
Are you sure there weren't any messages for me when I went out before?
I'm quite sure.
Oh.
Are you all right?
Yeah. Just a little hunger pang, I guess. Eating for 2, you know. Well, I'll see you later.
Mrs. Michaels.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I'm fine. Really, don't bother. No. Here, you better sit down. I'm fine, really. I just get dizzy sometimes. I'll be all right in a minute. Well, I think you better rest before you try to go out. Can you help me?
Well, I'm not supposed to leave the desk. Can you...
Never mind. Here, I'll take you up to your room myself. Thank you. It's Mrs. Michaels, right? Yes, that's me.
Here's her key.
Oh, thank you. Will you watch my bag?
I sure will.
I want you to feel torn or guilty about having another baby.
But why would you think that I'd be anything but thrilled at having another baby? I was just a little stunned. Why did you wait so long to tell me?
I'm sorry. I should have told you. I wanted to, but I just had to get this Emily Michaels mess out of the way. Look, now that you know, can we please go home together?
Honey, you've made me the happiest guy in the world. I mean, I'm excited about the baby. It's terrific. But I can't leave there, not yet.
Draper, I want this all to be over. I've got to think about the baby, our baby. I want to go home, Draper. I want to go home, and I want to try to live a halfway normal life, okay?
But look, as long as there's just a chance, even a slim chance, that somebody at that hospital, anybody, might know something about Nancy, I've got to give it a shot to stay. But you don't have to stay. I'd rather you went home.
I love you, and it makes sense for me to be where you are.
And I love you. You know that. But I'm stuck on the inside there. You'll do more to help us by going home and taking care of yourself and the new baby and Julia?
No, as much as I want to do that, I can't.
Why not?
Because you're here. And as long as you're here, then that's where I'm going to be too.
Here you go. Are you sure there isn't anybody I can call for you?
No, there's no one
No one in the world who cares about me anymore. What about your husband? I'm sorry. I don't mean to pry. I'm just trying to help.
I don't know where he is. I mean, I think he's in East Meadows. But I don't know for sure. He may not still be here.
I see.
See, that's why I came here, to try and find him. But it's been so hard. I mean, people here haven't been very helpful, and I have to find him before I have this baby.
Well, can you describe him to me?
I have his picture. He's an attorney. His name is Draper Scott. I know the names aren't the same, but he is the father of my baby, and I have to find him. I just have to.
He's very good looking. I'm sure I'll recognize Mr. Scott if I see him.
Take it easy, Mrs. Karr. Doctor's orders.
Did Dr. Bryson say that? I want to see him.
Well, just forget about Dr. Bryson. I'm the doctor around here now. You're taking orders from Doc Sharkey.
I want to
cut that out. I'm sick and tired of all this, Mrs. Karr. You know that?
The feeling is mutual, believe me.
Well, look, you just shut up and get some sleep, and we'll both be better off, you know?
Oh, you...
If you do that again, the bandages go right back on, Mrs. Karr.
You can't do that.
Yes, I can. I can do anything I want. I'm the boss around here.
Oh, God, you're going to kill me anyway, so why don't you do it?
Look, who said anything about killing you, Mrs. Karr? No. You got nothing to worry about.
Oh. Nothing to worry. There's nothing more you can do.
Oh, no, there is something more, Mrs. Karr. Didn't the doc tell you? Packing up the show and taking it on the road. And you're coming with us.
What?
That's right, closing up the joint just as soon as Gideon comes across with a fee. We're leaving. All of us. One big happy family.
Where are you going to go?
Who knows? Europe maybe. I've always wanted to see Paris, France. Oh, yeah, but there's one more thing, Mrs. Karr. You're gonna have to have a little operation first. Yeah, you see, the doc, he has to do something to that pretty face of yours, Mrs. Karr. He's gonna change it.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Oh, fine, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, I didn't say we weren't happy to see you, Valerie. Of course we are.
Both of you?
Oh, dear. I think I'm about to become the wicked stepmother again. Right, Val?
You're not happy to see me, Beth. You've made it perfectly clear.
Not at all. I just thought it was impolite that you gave us no warning about your homecoming.
Well, if I had, would you have greeted me with open arms? Or would I have gotten one of those nice little letters? This isn't a good time to come, dear. I've gotten those letters before.
Well, I'm afraid it would have been another one of those letters, darling. Especially at this time.
The truth is, you couldn't have chosen a worse time to be here.
What's going on?
Well, the clinic is going through some very serious problems, and there are certain complications.
What kind, Daddy?
Take your father's word for it. We're in a period of crisis, and we may lose the clinic entirely.
Is it really that serious?
Well, it could be.
Well, you told me that everything was going so well. You talked about rich patients.
Even rich patients renege on their bills.
You know, it's quite possible that we'll have to give up the clinic in East Meadows. Relocate my practice somewhere else. Probably abroad.
Abroad? Daddy, I've just spent 4 years abroad. I don't want to go back.
Well, then you have chosen the wrong time to come home.
Daddy, why? Why? You could set up an office somewhere else in the United States. You are the best plastic surgeon in this country. I'm sure you could find something else.
Oh, darling, you're prejudiced. You must remember that all my degrees are from Europe.
That's never prevented you from practicing here before.
The point is that we are leaving now. Kenneth and I have made up our minds. And there is nothing that you can say or do that will change that.
And I thought things could be different this time. We could really be a family.
Oh, they can be. You can come with us.
No, no. I have come back here to stay. This is my home.
And where is home? Have you found a place to live yet?
A motel. The East Meadows.
A motel. Is that the kind of home you miss so much in Europe?
It'll do for now.
Oh, I am sorry that you couldn't stay with us at the apartment, but, well, you saw how small it was.
Don't worry, Daddy. Everything is fine. The hotel is fine. It's cheap and tacky, and I sort of like it. Anyway, I made a friend.
You did? Who?
A pregnant woman. She almost passed out in the lobby when I was checking in. Poor girl. She's looking for the man who's done her wrong.
Well, you always did have a way of picking up strays and orphans. It sounds like you haven't changed much.
I haven't done anything for her. I just let her talk to me. Oh, and then she showed me a picture of him. A very good-looking guy, of course.
You know, Valerie, maybe you should find a man of your own. Then you wouldn't be so dependent on your parents.
Could I have another drink, Dad?
Oh, yes, darling. Waiter.
Yes, sir.
Could we have the same? I'll have a double.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry it took so long. You should get better service considering this is your last night and meal at Sydney.
Well, I don't think it's our last meal anymore.
What are you talking about? I thought you two were planning on going back home tonight.
We have changed our mind. And besides, your food is so good, we think we're going to stick around for a couple of more weeks.
Draper's joking. Not about the food. The food is terrific. We are not going to stay around here for a couple of weeks. We will stay for a couple of days, depending upon what happens.
Depending on what? Hey, you're pregnant. You ought to be at home.
That's what I told her. I want her to go home even if I have to stay for a while.
And I've made up my mind. As long as you intend on staying here for a couple of days, then I intend on staying here too. That is, if you don't mind.
Well, heavens no, I don't mind. I can always use the help. Now, let me get the salad dressing.
Thank you.
What I would like to know, though, is why your plans have changed about leaving. Uh-oh. Maybe you'll change your mind now.
Well, who's coming in?
Don't tell me it's Sharkey.
No, Sharkey's working today.
No, it's not him. It's that Emily Michaels dame again. I recognize the car.
Oh, damn it. Look, I've got to get out of here right now. I'll call you later, baby. Bye-bye.
I'll show you a way out back through the kitchen.
April, hello. I am happy to see you. Mind if I sit down?
Plenty of empty tables around.
What is this? You celebrating something? I think you'll be interested in what I have to say. It concerns your husband. I thought you'd like to know that Draper is not in Monticello.
Oh?
No. I called Cliff Nelson, and Draper definitely hasn't been by his place. And I also spoke to Mrs. Timmons, and she hasn't seen or heard from him. Now that is peculiar, don't you think? Because if he were in Monticello, he'd definitely want to know how Julia's doing.
Yes, well, maybe Draper's out of town on business. Did that ever occur to you?
Oh, he's out of town, all right. I think he's in this town. You two are hiding something from me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what game you're playing. But I know it has to do with me, and my baby, and Matt Sharkey. I'm going to put all the pieces together, April. Before I leave this town, I'm going to solve this puzzle. You understand?
Dr. Bryson would never do such a thing.
Well, he's got to do such a thing, Mrs. Karr. See, you got a very famous face now, don't you know that? It's been all over the paper for weeks and weeks. Your picture's even been in magazines. There must be over 50 million people in this country who know what you look like, and who knows how many people look
You're
there.
lying to me! Sadistic thing to do.
Look, you got nothing to worry about. I mean, it's a whole lot better than getting killed, isn't it? That's what you thought was going to happen.
I don't know if it's better.
The doc's very good at what he does. He's a genius at making people look different.
I will not believe you.
Hey, Doc, I was just telling Mrs. Karr your plans here.
All right, Sharkey, get out of here.
Now, don't talk nasty to me, partner. If you'll excuse me, Mrs. Karr.
Dr. Bryson, it isn't true, is it? You're not going to operate on my face, are you?
We had no right to talk about that.
I want to know if it's true.
Nancy, please try to understand what has happened. Ira Gideon has refused to pay his fee unless we can come to some arrangement involving you. Now, we've examined all the alternatives, and the only reasonable one seems to be that we leave East Meadow, go abroad.
And take me with you.
I'm sorry. It's the only solution we have.
And change my face? You're not going to change my face.
I should be passing out cigars. But I'm stuck in this place.
Hey, was I right? Was I right, huh? The town's dead.
Yeah, all zombies.
Yeah, to think that you could have had $50 instead of one lousy evening.
Come on. Don't rub it in, all right?
Hey, Richie. Buddy, don't let it get you down, okay? This town is very small, and the cutest looking chicks are high school girls, and their mommies and daddies lock them in before it gets dark.
Yeah, you were right, Sharkey.
Hot news flash. Speaking of mommies and daddies, did you take a look at Bryson's little girl?
No, why?
Juicy. Yeah, look, I saw her in Doc's office just this morning. I'm sure she's going to be in the hospital tomorrow, so you just check her out, okay? Check her out.
It's for your own protection, Nancy. If you should ever be recognized, it might provoke some more drastic action.
So you'd rather mutilate me instead?
No.
You can't do it.
It will only be a small alteration. I could never harm that beautiful face.
Can't do it. I won't let you.
Nancy, don't, please.
Oh, don't. Please don't. No.
Do you think I want to perform this operation? Do you think I want to mutilate that beautiful face of yours? The face that's come to mean so much to me. I'm helpless, Nancy. I have to do it. It's the only way I can satisfy them. My wife, Sharkey. They're controlling both of us now, and there's nothing I can do about it.
I don't change it, please.
They'd just as soon see you dead. You know that, don't you? This is the only alternative I have left. I'll be careful, Nancy. I promise you. When I operate this morning, I'll try and preserve something of you.
Leave me alone.
God, I'll try.
Please, God, leave me alone.
Don't expect too much, Mrs. Karr. I mean, let's face it. This isn't any microsurgery the doc is doing. You can't expect him to do too terrific a job on such short notice.
Oh, go away.
It'll just have to be a quick nip and tuck. And if you don't look too good, who's gonna worry about it? Not Mrs. Bryson, you can be sure about that.
I feel...
No, sir. I bet Lady Macbeth will make sure that pretty face of yours isn't so pretty anymore.
Go away! Go away!
Nancy!
Go away!
Nancy, what is it? Nancy!
No.
Nancy!
No.
Nancy!
Doctor, no. There isn't going to be an operation this morning. Please.
Sharkey, is everything ready?
Yeah, it's nice and shiny, we did most of the work last night. I just gave it some spit and polish. Oh, just polish. I'm on a new antiseptic kick.
Very funny.
Could I ask you something?
Yes?
What do you think about all this? I mean about the doc taking Mrs. Karr with us.
With us, Sharkey? I wasn't aware the four of us were traveling together.
You're right, we're not. I mean, as soon as I get my share of the money, I got better places to go than Europe.
Oh, yes, your share of the money.
I mean, Europe's okay if you know all those different languages, but I've gotten so used to plain everyday American. I understand, though, that the rate of exchange isn't so hot over there in Europe, so I figure I'm better off to spend my money in the good old USA. What do you think, Mrs. B?
Has Dr. Bryson spoken to you about your money?
Oh, yeah, every time I see him, it's the first thing he brings up.
Yes, well, I'm sure my husband will be fair.
Yes, I'm sure he will. I mean, he has to be fair. He's a smart guy. Only I wonder how smart he is dragging that woman along. I mean, even if he does change her face, she can always cause trouble.
Yes, you could always do that.
Yeah, so then why did you agree to it, Mrs. B? Why don't you just stick to your guns and make the doc do what you thought had to be done?
My husband has a mind of his own, Sharkey. I can't always force him to. Well, we settle for the next best thing.
Yeah, and I bet you like the next best thing, don't you? Seen that pretty face get changed? The doc really likes that pretty face, doesn't he, Mrs. B?
Why don't you get Mrs. Karr ready right now?
Right now?
I've just come back from the operating room. My wife still...
Your wife? Your wife doesn't give you any choice. What do you owe her?
I owe her nothing, except my gratitude. Beth made it possible for me to complete my medical education. She's responsible for my career.
I see.
Sounds rather cold-blooded, doesn't it? I'm really not that way at all, Nancy.
I know. You like to think of yourself as a compassionate man, and it's very easy to be compassionate in your position.
I was married before, you know. My wife died in childbirth. Until then, I had no idea how much money it cost to raise a child decently. More money than I could afford and still continue my studies. I wish you could meet my daughter, Nancy.
Please introduce her, bring her here anytime.
Oh, she is here. She's been in Europe for years, educated in Switzerland. That's where I had my clinic once. At any rate, she suddenly decided to return to America.
And how much does she know about you?
Well, I hope she knows that no matter what happens, I will always love her. Just as I hope you know that I will always love you.
Dr. Bryson.
Yes. It's kind of a mockery, isn't it? Telling you I love you and you're still my prisoner here.
Dr. Bryson, you would never treat anyone you cared for the way I've been treated here, and you would never do what you're planning to do.
I'm following the only course I know. It's the only way open to me now.
You could let me go and turn Ira Gideon in. Dr. Bryson, please think about it. If you turned in Ira Gideon, it really wouldn't be that serious for you. I mean, the bank he stole the money from, they probably wouldn't press charges against you. And possibly neither would the law because of your helping them.
It's an idle dream, Nancy. Just as my hope that you might go away with me is an idle dream. Isn't it?
Do you want me to live a lie?
Nancy, there's still time to...
Ooh, hey. Hey, Doc, this is getting to be a little bit of a habit, isn't it? Look, I gotta prep the patient and you gotta scrub down. Right? So how do you feel this morning, huh? Like I said, the operating room is squeaky clean. The doc likes everything just so when he operates.
Please.
Look, I'm just as worried about you as Doc Featherstone is. Look, just calm down. Calm down. The doc will do a good job. He really knows his stuff, Mrs. Karr.
Do you remember I once offered you some money? I'll give you double that if you help me now. Did you hear me? I'll give you double. I give you my word.
Double?
Yes.
See that? That comes to over $500,000, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder, Mrs. Karr. I wonder how the wife of a district attorney can come up with that kind of money. Put this on. Put it on now. I'll be outside.
Still think the whole idea is pointless. Only by bandaging the woman, the disguise will be just as effective.
You gave us your word, Kenneth.
Oh, I like the way you say us. Finally admit that Sharkey's your ally.
Yes. Yes, he's a part of this now. Unfortunate, but true.
He's an uncontrollable part, Beth. Perhaps more so than Nancy Karr.
It's Mrs. Karr we have to worry about now. I know it hurts you a great deal, but if you insist on taking her with us, you must use your wonderful talents to make her unrecognizable.
Well, it won't be easy without Featherstone here. You know, you're absolutely no use in the operating room.
You're wasting time, my dear.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you're right. I better get on with it.
You know, I really wish I was coming along with you when we all split. It's just that, oh, I don't know how much I'd like living in Europe. I like it right here. American skies and apple pie. You know, I hear that the girls are really something over there in Paris. Look, for once, would you cooperate and put on that damn thing?
All right, Sharkey, you can go.
Yeah, well, you want me to take her into, you know...
I'll call you when I'm ready.
Right, you do that. I'll be right outside. Whistle even.
You're going through with it.
Simply the only way out. I'm sorry.
Well, you may be able to change the way I look, but you'll never change the way I feel.
I know that.
And I will never stop trying to get out of here.
Don't say that. Don't give them any more reason to do something drastic. Oh, for the love of heaven, woman, don't you realize I'm trying to save your life? I love you. God help me, I love you.
Yeah. Come on in.
Oh, good, it's you. You're a hard man to track down.
Well, Mrs. Bryson asked me to clean up, so I'm cleaning up.
Can you take a few minutes out to talk?
Certainly. Come on in.
Daddy was busy with a patient, so I figured it was a good time to sneak away. I wanted to find out how things were going with Richie Johnson's alter ego, Draper Scott.
Come on now. Don't go saying that too loudly. You're liable to be overheard outside. Come on.
Well, have you gotten any closer to getting Sharkey to spill any beans about what really went on between him and Emily?
No, not a thing.
Won't Sharkey talk?
Well, the last time I spoke to Sharkey was last night when he came in here and interrupted our conversation.
Yes, he did seem a bit surprised at finding us together, didn't he? What a jerk.
Yeah. Considering Sharkey's moods, I didn't think it was the best time to pump him for any more information.
That makes sense.
You know, Valerie, I've been thinking. Maybe this whole project, this whole entire mess is just a big waste of time.
But Draper, if Sharkey is the father of Emily's baby, that would certainly change things for you and your wife.
Yeah, if maybe I ought to just accept the fact that Emily will always be a part of my life and let it go.
Oh, don't tell me you're going to give up.
Yeah. I'm leaving here tonight, with or without Sharkey's confession.
I know how hard that must be for you. But I guess it is practical, since you probably won't be on the hospital staff much longer anyway.
Why? I mean, did you hear something? Is somebody suspicious?
Oh, no, nothing like that. My father hit me with a bombshell this morning. Apparently, the Rexford Clinic is about to close its doors. He's thinking of shutting the place down and moving back to Europe.
Europe?
Oh, well, that's where he had his first practice.
Did he say why he was going?
He mentioned professional pressures. I really don't know. All I know is that I'm sick of Europe, and even if they decide to go back, I'm going to stay right here in the good old US of A.
Well, doesn't it seem strange to you that your father would just pick up and leave like that?
I'm sure he has his reasons.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he has his reasons. But what are they?
Well, if you're going to tell me that some of these bandages will soon be coming off, I'll be more than happy. This wrapping is getting mighty uncomfortable as the weather gets warmer.
I'm afraid those bandages will have to stay on a little longer, Mr. Gideon. I'm sorry.
Then what was this good news you were so anxious to tell me?
Oh, yes. Well, when you leave the Rexford, we all leave.
All the travel plans I've made are for one Bryson.
Oh, no. We'll be going our separate ways. When I close the clinic, my wife and I will return to Europe.
Tell me, how does relocating take care of the threat Mrs. Karr poses? I mean, what happens to her?
Well, she certainly won't be left free to run to the police.
What do you plan to do? Board up this house and leave her inside?
No. She'll be our traveling companion. She's going abroad with us.
And what happens when you get to Europe? I mean, there are plenty of police there as well, you know.
Well, my wife and I will just have to see to it that she's kept out of their sight.
I'm still not sure I care for this plan of yours.
And we will keep it that way until such time as the police forget you even exist.
Well, I don't know if you have that many years left. Monticello Federal Bank isn't about to let the police forget about my unauthorized withdrawal so fast. It's not a sure thing, and I don't know if I'm that much of a gambling man.
Well, I'm not a gambling man either, Mr. Gideon. That's why I'm preparing my travel plans immediately. I don't want any surprises when I reach the continent.
Why are you telling me this? I want to know as little about your plans as possible.
Because the first order on the agenda is a healthy deposit in a foreign bank. Preparations such as these require substantial funding, you know.
I'm beginning to see the light.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to pay your fee, Mr. Gideon. Now. Beth.
Did you
really think you could get away with it, Kenneth?
Well,
The charade is over.
What's going on here?
Well, what's got into you, Beth? What are you talking about?
I know all about that deal you worked out with Mrs. Karr.
Mr. Gideon, would you please excuse us?
Well,
I need to speak to my wife in private.
I'm not going anywhere, Bryson.
Mr. Gideon, please. I must speak to my wife alone.
What is this deal you made with Mrs. Karr? This concerns me as much as it does you.
Well, he was going to run away with her. Leave me and run away with her.
Where the devil did you get that idea?
Don't try to deny it, Kenneth.
It's too ridiculous to deny.
What's this all about, Bryson?
Of course, I knew about your infatuation, but to be this stupid?
The woman is trapped in an ungodly situation. I saw no reason why she should be any more miserable than necessary.
It is the idiot behavior of a lovesick, middle-aged man.
I don't have to listen to this.
Why hasn't Mrs. Karr been prepared for surgery?
What?
You heard me. She's scheduled for the OR this morning. Why hasn't she been prepped?
Well, I may change my mind about the operation. I still think the bandages will suffice.
Why? Because you can't bear to put a knife to her face?
Now, look. I don't know what kind of games you're playing around here, and I could care less. But I'm not about to stand for any more nonsense.
All right, Mr. Gideon. My wife and I will work this out.
In my opinion, your wife is right, Doctor. So, unless you do complete the surgery, you won't get 1 red cent from me.
Do you have any brilliant strategy for getting Sharkey to open up before quitting time?
Nothing except asking him more direct questions.
Well, he strikes me as the type who'd be more than happy to tell you how successful he is with women.
Let's think about the things we already know. First of all, Sharkey admitted to me that he liked Emily.
Well, that's understandable. She's an attractive female. But what she saw in him, I don't know.
He also said that he feels that he's God's gift to women.
Yes, we all know that, but, you know, the more I think about it, the more I think that Emily might be the more reliable source.
No, I doubt that.
Well, maybe I can get her to talk to me. I told you I wanted to help you if I could.
We've already questioned her. I mean, if she knows anything, she's not talking.
She's a tough nut to crack, too, huh?
Well, we have tried everything.
But she doesn't know me. I mean, sometimes people find it easier to confide in strangers.
I just don't think so.
Well, maybe you've given it your best shot, but I haven't. And Emily Michaels has never met someone like me. So why don't we talk later and compare notes? Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Put on the gown, that's fine with me. Sharky, we're not going to fight. We're not going to fight.
Is the patient ready, Sharky?
She is ready and willing.
Good. Time for your operation, Mrs. Karr.
You're going to have to be a great little soldier, Mrs. Karr.
No. Oh, no. Just a little operation. No. Just a little operation.
So, it's all over, is it? Mrs. Karr's operation?
Yeah, it's over. The lady's in her room sleeping it off.
It didn't take very long, did it?
Well, I mean, let's face it, the doc wasn't doing as careful work with Mrs. Karr as he was doing with you. Hey, you don't know what your face is going to look like, do you?
No, I don't.
Hey, look, I'm sure it's going to be terrific. You'll be giving Robert Redford a run for his money.
Oh, spare me your crude jokes, Sharky.
I'm sorry, sir. All I meant to say was that the doc wasn't working with any plans with Mrs. Karr. He was just trying to change her.
Yes, I know. so that no one will recognize her when she becomes your traveling companion?
Right.
What do you think of that scheme, Sharkey?
I don't know. I don't think much of it, I guess.
But yet you and Mrs. Bryson both agreed to it.
Look, it was her husband's idea, not mine. I came up with the idea of getting the doc to change her face. I mean, why take a lot of stupid chances the way I figured it?
You realize you're still taking a chance. I mean, no matter what that woman looks like, she can still prove her identity to the police.
Yeah, but I mean, people aren't just going to come up to her and say, hey, look, there's Nancy Karr, let's go call the cops.
Yeah, well, I guess it's the most I could hope for. Your Dr. Bryson is too faint-hearted for a more drastic solution.
Look, it was just tough for him. I mean, after all, he's a doc. I mean, he's not going to say, let's murder her. I mean, murder's not a very nice thing.
Prison isn't very nice either, Sharkey.
Yeah, but it's okay, isn't it? I mean, what the doc did?
Yeah, I'm afraid it'll have to be. Look, if you're finished in here, I have something more important for you to do.
Yeah, what's that?
I want you to make sure the car has plenty of gas in it. I'm going to take quite a long drive this afternoon.
Where to?
None of your business. Just make sure I have a full tank.
Yeah, sure, right away. Oh. You're going to get the money. That's it, isn't it? You're going to get the cash to pay the clinic. And you don't want anyone to know where you got it stashed.
Get the car ready, Sharkey.
Sure thing.
Hello, Valerie.
Do you know where Daddy is?
Yes, he's resting. He's just completed some delicate surgery, and it takes a lot out of him, you know?
It never used to. In fact, I remember him feeling quite elated after successful surgery. Wasn't it successful?
Your memory of your father goes back a few years, doesn't it, Val?
Seems like yesterday to me. The clinic in Switzerland.
Oh, yes, and your favorite patient. The one you were so madly in love with? Sorry. Didn't realize you were still sensitive about that.
Which room was he in?
Val, I said he was resting. I don't think you should disturb him.
Well, I'd like to talk to him.
What about?
Do I need your approval before I go talk to him?
No, of course not. But I think I know. You would like to talk him out of his decision to close the clinic and leave the country.
And you would rather I didn't.
I assure you, there's nothing I would like better. I'm as opposed to his leaving as you are. But your father is a very stubborn man, in case you didn't know that.
I never found him stubborn. He used to be strong.
I assure you, I haven't made him weak. If I had, we wouldn't be leaving here. Things have changed over there, as I'm sure you know. Our American dollars will buy us very little.
Why is he doing this?
Restlessness, I suppose.
Daddy was never restless.
Well, now, there you are. You've discovered two things about your father. He's stubborn, and he's restless.
Look, why don't we both go talk to him? It's to your advantage, too, if I can talk him out of leaving.
Val, it can't be done. We've already made preliminary arrangements. Our remaining patients are being discharged. In fact, Miss Allen, our charity case, is leaving in a couple of hours.
It's final, then?
Yes, it is. What will you do when we leave here, Val? You really plan on staying here?
Not in East Meadows. I'll go to the city. I'll go to Monticello and find a job.
I think that's the best way. Make your own life. Stop depending on your father. Well, I'll look in on him. If he's awake, I'll tell him you're here.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Beth?
Yes?
You haven't heard from Lieutenant Diedrichson, have you?
No. Not a word. And I think you would be wise to forget he ever existed.
I have forgotten him. I mean, it helps not knowing what he looks like.
I never did understand that. How you could fall in love with a man you never even saw.